Good morning. Today we are going to be tapping on money. Specifically, we're going to be examining what's underneath our layers when it comes to money and how we subconsciously feel about money. And then we're going to tap to release any feelings that are holding us back from receiving more money. I'm excited about this tapping. So go ahead and take a deep breath in and out. We're going to be visualizing or imagining something first. And in general, most people like to close their eyes when they do that, although you don't have to. But I feel it tends to work better when you close your eyes to visualize or imagine something. So close your eyes if you like, and take a deep breath in and out, allowing your shoulders to lower. And take another deep breath in to come into your body, really get present in your body, getting settled where you're sitting. Come into your body and imagine what it would be like if you were looking at a movie screen, a giant movie screen. And on that movie screen, paint the picture with your mind or visualize or imagine, if you could, the image of a child, maybe 6, maybe 7 years old. And that child is you. That's the 6 or 7-year-old version of you. It's okay if you feel like you're making it up or remembering an old picture. Just see what it would be like to let yourself see on this movie screen of your mind that child who is you, and just see her there. Take another deep breath in. Notice your feet, the feeling of your feet as they touch the floor, the feeling of the chair or your bed supporting you. Just notice that for a second, and of course, exhale. And come back to that picture. Just be curious as to what it would look like if you could see that picture even more clearly. So you could almost see what this little girl or little boy is wearing. What are they wearing? Just notice that for a second. And I want you to get a sense of how she's feeling. How does she feel? Just notice what's there. And now something is about to happen. I want you to bring your parents or your caregivers from when you were that age into the room. Just imagine what it would be like if you could see that. And they're dealing with, they're handling, they're talking about the money, the bills, the finances, the paychecks. What's happening in that picture? What's the feeling dominating there? Is there anxiety? Is there stress? Is there anger? Is there disempowerment of one or both parents or caregivers? What kinds of things are they saying? In a minute, you're going to write all of what you're seeing down. You're going to capture it in your journal. Is there a bit of a vacuum, almost like a strange emptiness where money just wasn't ever talked about? Notice on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense is this picture? If 10 is super intense. Was there fear? Is there panic? Are you seeing a moment of trauma? And you're there, and you were just a kid. I want you to turn your attention back to that little younger version of you. How's she feeling in this picture now with the parents there discussing the money, the bills, the finances, the paychecks? How's she feeling? Because it affected you, didn't it? I want you to take a deep breath and come back to your body. Open your eyes, grab your pen, and write down as many of the insights that you saw in this picture. What was the feeling of the parents? How many emotions were there? Was there trauma? Was there fighting? Were they arguing? Was there an absence of communication? Were there any traumatic things happening? What were the kind of things that they were saying? Things that they specifically said about the world or about money or about people when it comes to money, or about their value or your value in relationship to money. Are there any quotes that you can remember them saying? And then switch back to you, that little 5 or 6-year-old little body with your little nervous system and your little processing brain. What was going on in you in that picture? How were you feeling? How did that child look to you? Write it all down. It's not about remembering, not even about remembering a specific event. It's about visualizing and seeing how your mind paints you the picture of the child that you once were. Trust in what was painted. What pops into your head, the impressions, the guesses, they're all okay. And if you're not sure, if you weren't able to see anything or feel anything, what would you guess was there? What would you imagine you may have been feeling? What a child would have been experiencing in that type of situation? And I know for some of you, this may be very uncomfortable to look at and to feel. For some of you, it might even be very intense. And for others, it may not have been super intense at all, but I really want you to be a detective and see what's there. After you've journaled on your impressions, let's go ahead and tap on that picture. There they are. My parents, my caregivers. And they were dealing with and handling money, handling the bills. And there was so much stress. There was anxiety. There was not enough. There was fear. There was panic. Maybe even anger. Maybe they were fighting. My parents were fighting. There was disappointment. And I was there. And I was just a child. I saw it all today. This is my paradigm. This is what's been wired into me. This is where I get all my set points. Anxiety. Anxiety in my body. fear, fear in my body, lack was more real than abundance. Conflict around money was more real than peace. And I'm just going to honor that. Stress, disappointments, ups and downs. They're never not quite being enough. Sometimes just enough. And I still feel it today. I try to deny sometimes that I feel it today, but I still feel it today. I totally honor what I'm feeling. I never wanted this paradigm. This lack money story. But it's been wired into me, programmed into me. And I feel it. Sadness about money. So much loss. So much suffering. Fear around money. Will there be enough? There's not quite enough. So much insecurity here. So much unsafety. And my parents, my caregivers, maybe they were doing their best. Maybe they weren't. But they suffered. They worried. They scraped by. They worked really hard. Dreamed really big. And maybe they never got ahead. And I'm just going to honor that. All this feeling that's running in my system, wired to run in my nervous system, in my physical body, in my energy, anxiety about money, pain around money. And I feel it. I feel it right behind my heart. I feel it in my ribs. As if I've been holding my breath. As if I can't take a real deep breath. I'm just holding my breath. Bracing myself for money disappointment. There was disempowerment about money. And there they are. My parents. Dealing with and talking about money, about abundance and the way of the world. Or maybe they didn't say anything at all. But there was this strange, uncomfortable vacuum. A big secret that they never said out loud or said in very hushed, stern tones. And I was there, just taking it all in. And the energy was there. It was in the air. It permeated the entire household. Scarcity felt more real than abundance. Conflict and fear felt more real than peace. I feel the unfairness of it. It was so unfair. Why did it have to be so hard for them? I feel that. I feel that in my throat. Like I want to just swallow those words. I don't even want to say it out loud. And feel the pain of that. Why did it have to be so hard on them? Why did it have to be so hard for us? They never got to just have joy. They never got to just have relief. And neither did I. Relief from anxiety. Relief from fear. Relief from guilt about not giving us enough. Money never let us feel safe. Abundance didn't just shine on us. And I'll never understand why. Why they never really got ahead. No matter what they did, it was like the cards were just stacked against them. And it feels hurtful and unfair. Maybe they never complained. They just grinned and bore it. Pretended everything was a-okay. But they bore the weight of it all. The shame of it all. The guilt of it all. The frustration of it all. Constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul. Making off-the-cuff remarks like pay taxes and then you die. Work harder. Work more. Money doesn't grow on trees. There's a part of me, and it feels very loyal and protective for my parents. There's a part of me that feels anger and frustration at the way it went for them. I feel sadness, anger, and frustration. And I've been reliving this. I've been reliving this abundance and money story in the patterns of my life. I feel anger and frustration that no one was there for them. And I'm just going to honor that too. Feeling let down. Feeling abandoned. Feeling isolated and on our own and unsupported. In a scary world. A scary world of bills and money. Often at the edge of survival. Maybe there was supposed to be some help, and there wasn't. And that makes me angry too. I'm just going to honor all of this sadness, all of this anger, all of this grief, all of the tears and the sadness that I have. I'm just going to honor it now. And take a deep breath. Lots of emotion for me. If some of these words were over the top for you, that's okay. Just go ahead and go with it and keep tapping. You're going to tap another round. All this deep sadness, all this deep anger. Why, God? Why, universe? Why did they have to suffer that way? Why did I have to suffer that way? It feels so wrong and so unfair. People that never really got ahead. It's so unfair. I refuse to accept it. It is unfair what happened to my parents. And it's unfair that I've been living that truth in my own life. Recreating that same feeling of unfairness, of lack of safety and security. And I'm just going to honor that. I honor that I've been recreating the same feelings in my money, even in a different time, even in a different era, with different training, a different skill set, different education, different business, different jobs. I've been recreating my childhood money paradigm, despite how hard I try. It feels the same. So I honor this grief, this sadness, and this anger. And take a deep breath again. Go back to the picture with you there and the parents, your caregivers there. And notice if the picture looks different at all. Take a moment to jot down in your journal how it looks different. What's different about the picture? Also jot down how intense the picture is right now. For most of you, the intensity will have gone down, even though these weren't very positive rounds. And when you're ready, and I just wanted to add, if you're finding that the picture is even more intense now, that's okay. It just means that what's coming up, you're a very positive person, right? And what's coming up is what's been deeply buried underneath the surface and it's coming up for release. If you find that the picture is more intense now, go ahead and start the tapping from the beginning at this point prior to moving on to this final round. Now we're going to go ahead when you're ready to this final round of tapping. All of this wiring about money. I'm just going to honor it. I've seen some truth today about how I really feel about money. And I don't want to be controlled by that anymore. I'm open to healing it. From the deepest spaces of me. And through the generational paradigms of my parents. I'm the one to do it. I'm open to healing it through the generational paradigms of my parents, through my ancestors. I'm confident my ancestors wouldn't want me to carry this legacy. I'm so open to healing this. And I forgive myself for carrying it. I am so open to healing all of this old energy, this unconscious paradigm, these unconscious patterns, these downloaded feelings of unsafety and insecurity when it comes to money. I don't want to be controlled anymore. I want to be free of this. So that I can create and co-create a brand new money story. One where I'm saying yes to money. Yes to my money. A money story that's mine and is not pushing against or pulling to my parents' money story. I'm sure they wouldn't want me to carry this legacy. So I'm so open to healing this. Having peace around money. Safety and security around money. I'm open to healing this. For my highest good. And the highest good of all. And take a deep breath. And just notice the picture. See if anything has changed in the picture. Write it down in your journal, what's changed about the picture. Also note the intensity of how intense the feelings are for you right now and the intensity of the picture. Taking a deep breath in. Thank the child for showing you everything that you saw today. And open your eyes. Come back to the room. Okay, so this went really deep into your earliest money patterns, earliest money stories, the family money stories. Today, stay very, very hydrated. I know a question that I get a lot when I do this particular process is, how often should I tap on this? Should I tap on this several times a day? And the answer is yes and no. And I lean more, these days, I lean more towards no for this particular tapping script. Tap on it once a day is fine. But just once today. If you have had childhood trauma in your life, tapping on this once is sufficient. Once a day is sufficient. What you can do if you're feeling like, oh, I want to get rid of the blocks. I want to get rid of this money story. I want to get rid of this pattern. If you're feeling that, to identify it for what it is. It's an anxiousness. It's an uncertainty that it will work for you. It might even be a striving type of energy. And instead of going back and tapping this over and over and over again, just write down anytime a memory pops up about your parents and parents' money throughout the day or throughout the next few days, just tap on that Oh, I remember when mom had $100 bill and she didn't want to break it. Whatever the story is, whatever the memory is, just tap on that. We're bringing down our nervous system. We're releasing the trauma. And and you can't get it wrong. And when it comes to money, particularly early money stories, it's been my observation that our subconscious mind really wants to hold on to that punishment. And I notice for myself, I even start pounding on my body at times, and I have to consciously be aware I'm releasing this trauma. I'm not holding on to it. I'm not holding on to the punishment. So go easy on yourself today. Just tap this once, unless it became even more intense before you went to the final round. You can do one more round and go to the final round. And stay really, really hydrated. I am so looking forward to hearing what came up for you and seeing you tomorrow. I'm Keisha Dixon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.